let's talk about the playoff picture. We told people to bet the Chiefs a few weeks ago. I'd still say bet the Chiefs, honestly.
Yeah.
Plus
They
170.
won what? I mean, they won this past week.
They're 4-4. They're like
right. They're 500.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff that's come out now about Henry Ruggs, which I'm not going to get into the specifics, but that could impact one of the better playmakers on offense, depending on
almost seems certain to impact the Raiders for a stretch of this year.
Denver, I mean, Bowles isn't playing as well at the tackle spot, but a little bit banged up. Their linebacker core is decimated. You get rid of Von Miller in a trade. Yeah. Like, okay, what are you signaling to your locker room? And then I think you look at the Chargers, which, got off to a hot start, maybe not looking quite as good as they once were. So I think the door is open for Kansas City. They've played awful, and they're still finding a way to be a 500 team. If they can just stop turning the football over, which is a big if, and improve defensively, which I think they've showed signs of that, they can be a team that wins that division.
Okay. The current AFC odds, let's find some good bets and bad bets in here. The Titans are first in the AFC. Derrick Henry done for, it's weird.
They're ahead 3.5 games. Look at their schedule the rest of the way. I mean, they'll easily get the 10 wins. At 10-7, I think they win the division. So that to me, it's done. It's a wrap. It's over as far as the Titans win their division.
Yeah, and the Titans should get to the playoffs. And even without Derrick Henry, the Titans are not going to have it's going to be like minus 2,000 or something like that because they swept the Colts. The Colts have to be a game in front of them. We talked about this on the podcast on Monday, I believe. The Raiders at minus 150 to make the playoffs. The Raiders would actually be my pick, Brady, to miss the playoffs of all the division leaders out there.
I'm with you with the news of Ruggs. That's concerning, but I think outside of that too is like, can they continue this path offensively and make enough defensive improvements? I mean, look, they've been better this year, but not where they need to be. I think that's a team that ends up unfortunately kind of falling off in the wake of John Gruden no longer being there, maybe one of your biggest playmakers, and next thing you know, they're on the outside looking in.
Could easily happen. So that I would say that was if you're getting plus money on the Raiders missing the playoffs, that's probably a bet I would consider making. The Ravens at minus 800, you can't really bet that. The Bills odds are obnoxious because they look dangerous and have a very good record. The Bengals,
I feel like the Steelers though, like the Bengals, maybe we'll see how that division shakes out. Obviously, the Ravens seem to be a shoo-in. I'm still on the Steelers. I'm telling you, do not write this team off. Cleveland looks like they're fading. Cincinnati, as good as they look, I feel like something tells me there's value there on the Steelers. That's where my eye is attracted to. And I'm like, all right, it's worth laying a little bit of money on them. I said that back when they were at the bottom of the division. I think what were the odds for them to win the AFC North then? It was like plus 1,800.
Yeah, it was like 12-1 or something like that, maybe.
Something ridiculous. And at that point, you're like, might as well lay a little bit of money on it. It's only going to improve moving forward now, but their odds to make the playoffs, I think they're starting to find their rhythm right now.
The two best bets, I would agree with you on the Steelers because you're getting plus money.
Yeah.
And I think it's a byproduct of Ben Roethlisberger refusing to let this season he's just refusing to let what is likely his last season in Pittsburgh, maybe his last season playing football, be a disaster. And Mike Tomlin's a great coach. And there's sort of scotch tape together.
He is not taking that job.
So. The USC job? No kidding. I mean, yeah, it's insulting that anybody would even ask. And then the Patriots at plus 120 to make the playoffs. I love the Patriots at plus 120 to make the playoffs. The AFC is wide open, man. I'm surprised that number is what it is. They are, they have Mac Jones who's playing well. They have a good defense. They have Bill Belichick, and they have a run game and some receiving weapons at the tight end position. They're starting to come on strong.
They'll be in the mix. The concern is the AFC North, I think, is going to have multiple teams. Just depends how many. Yeah. Like whether or not we're going to say the Bengals, Ravens, maybe Steelers 2 are all 3 in. I mean, that's potentially what you're looking at. And then how many come out of the AFC West? If you're looking at the Chiefs saying they're going to win the division or they're going to make a comeback, where the Chargers sit in that conversation. So the problem is I think if you're ranking like the best teams in the AFC, I don't know that I'd put the Patriots ahead of any of those teams I just mentioned.
Sure.
But they'd be right there after that. So like it's a Bill Belichick coach team. The ball sometimes bounces their way. It just works out that way. So to your point, maybe worth taking the risk here for plus money.
Yeah, and the Patriots also still have the Panthers, the Falcons. They do have to play the Bills twice, and the Bills have shown a willingness to dominate them. But they also get the Colts, Jaguars, and Dolphins. So there are a lot of winnable games. The Browns as well there.